Live from New Delhi, you're watching DD India Live, India's voice to the world. I'm Preeti Kaur. Coming up in the next 30 minutes. Donald Trump confirms Khamenei is dead after Israeli Prime Minister Netanyahu claims there are signs that Khamenei is no longer alive. Israeli officials say the body has been found. India's External Affairs Minister Dr. S. Jaishankar speaks to Iranian-Israeli counterparts, urges de-escalation. India issues advisories for Indian nationals in conflict zone to remain vigilant. UN Security Council holds emergency meeting on US, Israel and Iran. Europe expresses concern over West Asia escalation. Prime Minister Modi to inaugurate, dedicate to the nation and lay the foundation stone of various development projects in Puducherry and Tamil Nadu. And in sports, India to take on West Indies in a crucial T20 World Cup Super 8 match at Kolkata's Eden Gardens. Winner to book semi-final spot. Let's get to the big developing news this hour. US President Donald Trump on Saturday confirmed that Iranian Supreme Leader Ayatollah Ali Khamenei has been killed in airstrikes. Trump celebrated US-Israeli airstrikes that he said killed Iran's leader, but warned attacks would continue. The strikes, which Trump said were aimed at destroying Iranian missiles and annihilating its navy, followed repeated US-Israeli warnings that they would strike Iran again if pressed ahead with its nuclear and ballistic missile programs. In the post, it was asserted by Trump that Khamenei was one of the most evil people in history, describing the development as a turning point for Iran and the wider West Asia. Trump said the strike was made possible through US intelligence capabilities and coordination with Israel. Trump vowed no let-up in the strikes until the fall of the Islamic Republic as he urged security forces to stand down. In the post, it was asserted by Trump that Khamenei was one of the most evil people in history, describing the development as a turning point for Iran and the wider West Asia. Trump said that the strike was made possible through US intelligence capabilities and coordination with Israel. Trump vowed no let-up in the strikes until the fall of the Islamic Republic as he urged security forces to stand down. And this picture up your screens shows Trump. In fact, it shows Trump in a suit jacket, white shirt and a white USA baseball cap, seated with US Secretary of State Marco Rubio and White House Chief of Staff Susie Wiles at a table, monitoring the operation from his Mar-a-Lago oceanfront resort in Florida. As per the reports coming in on the latest, Iranian Supreme Leader Ayatollah Ali Khamenei's daughter, grandchild, daughter-in-law and son-in-law were killed in US-Israeli strikes, Iranian state media reported. Family members of Iran's Supreme Leader Khamenei were killed in the US-Israeli strikes. This is the latest we are getting for you. Iranian Supreme Leader Ayatollah Ali Khamenei was reported to be dead by US President Donald Trump on social media. Iranian authorities have also confirmed that they have found the body, and in the latest development, Iranian Supreme Leader Ayatollah Ali Khamenei's daughter, grandchild, daughter-in-law and son-in-law were killed in US-Israeli strikes. This has been reported by Iranian state media. Also, the Israeli military said that it launched a wave of strikes targeting Iranian ballistic missiles and air defense sites on Sunday. Israeli military in a statement said that Israeli forces began an additional strike wave targeting the ballistic missile array and the aerial defense systems belonging to the Iranian terror regime. And now up on your screens are the visuals of the airstrikes in Iran and its aftermath. The US and Israel launched airstrikes on Iran on Saturday with a massive explosions rocking Tehran and smoke rising in missile-hit areas. These are the visuals of airstrikes in Iran and its aftermath. US and Israel launched strikes against Iran on Saturday, and these are the massive explosions that rocked Tehran, and we can see smoke rising in missile-hit areas in Iran. Iranian missiles and Israeli interceptors were seen flying and exploding overhead in the skies of Tel Aviv on Saturday night in the latest Iranian missile barrage. These are the latest visuals we're getting for you from Iran. Visuals of destruction after the US-Israeli strikes in Iran. US and Israel launched airstrikes on Iran on Saturday with massive explosions that rocked Tehran and Tel Aviv, and in the pictures, in the visuals, we can see smoke rising in the missile-hit areas. Intercepting missiles were also launched from the western edge of Doha on Saturday to defend against strikes from Iran towards Qatar. Up on our screens, we have the visuals of the intercepting missiles that were also launched from the western edge of Doha on Saturday to defend against strikes from Iran towards Qatar. The situation in the Gulf escalating and getting serious. US and Israel launched airstrikes against Iran, and here up on your screens we see intercepting missiles hit the missiles from Iran towards Qatar. US has confirmed the death of Iran's Supreme Leader Ayatollah Ali Khamenei. And up on our screens, we have the latest coming. Iran has confirmed Supreme Leader Ayatollah Ali Khamenei has been killed in the strikes. Iranian state media has confirmed. This is the big breaking coming up this hour. Iran's Supreme Leader Ayatollah Ali Khamenei has been killed. Remember, this comes after Donald Trump had, in fact, put on social media that Ayatollah Ali Khamenei has been killed in the strikes. But this is now that Iran has confirmed, the Iranian state media has confirmed that Iran's Supreme Leader Khamenei, Ayatollah Ali Khamenei, has been killed. Earlier in the bulletin, we also told you how the family members of Ayatollah Ali Khamenei were also killed in the airstrikes launched by US and Israel. This is the latest we're getting for you. US and Israel have launched airstrikes against Iran, in which Iranian Supreme Leader Ayatollah Ali Khamenei was killed. That was put on social media by US, but it is now that the Iranian state media has confirmed that Supreme Leader Khamenei has been killed. US President Trump earlier had said that it will take Iran several years to recover from this joint US-Israeli attack on the country. US President Donald Trump has accused Iran of backing away from reaching a nuclear deal, saying he understood that Tehran was not seeking an agreement in earnest, and that has what has led to these airstrikes on Iran. So this is the latest we're getting for you from West Asia. The situation in West Asia escalating and getting grave. 40 days of state mourning has been announced in Iran The state media has confirmed that Iran's supreme leader Ayatollah Ali Khamenei has been killed. 40 days of state mourning has been announced in Iran. So big developments happening in West Asia. Iranian supreme leader Ayatollah Ali Khamenei has been killed. These are the visuals, these are the breaking news. This is in fact the breaking news we are getting for you, where Iranian state media has confirmed that Supreme Leader Ayatollah Ali Khamenei was killed in the US-Israeli strikes. Earlier, US President and Donald Trump and a senior Israeli official had said that Khamenei had been killed. They put it on social media, but this is the Iranian media that has confirmed that Ayatollah Ali Khamenei has been killed, and 40 days of mourning has been announced. To get us more on this, our correspondent Akshay Dongre is joining us. Akshay, so finally we have the confirmation coming in from the Iranian state media that Supreme Leader Ayatollah Ali Khamenei has been killed in the US strikes, US-Israeli strikes on Iran. Now, with this confirmation, how grave is the crisis in West Asia, and how do you see it pan out?
There were apprehensions coming in since Donald Trump claimed that Khamenei has been killed in the airstrikes, along with some other leaders and some of his family members. However, initially, after denying for hours, the Iranian media has finally confirmed that Ayatollah Ali Khamenei, the supreme leader of Iran, has been killed in the Israeli and US airstrikes. And now, a 40-day state mourning has been announced by Iran. As far as the latest news of Khamenei's death is concerned, it does take the entire crisis to another level, because Iran, while the objective of the airstrike was to decapitate the senior leadership, the objective will not be over until unless the entire leadership is wiped out, and that's in speaking strictly in terms of state of war. However, several other senior leaders who are supposed to lead Iran, as far as the chain of command is concerned, that still remains. Sadiq Larijani is there. Then Khamenei's, other heirs that he has named in a sort of a chain of command. So it's a long list of leaders, a long list of people that were supposed to take over in a sort of a descending manner. Until and unless that is done, and there is a change from within Iran, this is going to draw out a much more bloody and much more dangerous conflict now, given the fact that with the death of Khamenei, the IRGC, the Iranian Revolutionary Corps, etc., all of these other forces are going to double down as far as their attacks are concerned against the adversaries. Now, that is one possibility. The second possibility also is there will be a change from within. There is some insiders who are aided in this entire thing and will take over. The third possibility is that the Iranian people will come up with, or some strong Iranian groups will come up with an internal plan to sort of democratize the society and bring about elections to replace the current regime in the country. But the earlier apprehensions that Raza, the son of Shah, will be coming in, and he will be given some sort of power in this vacuum, seems quite unlikely, because even though Khamenei is dead, the sort of mourning and the sort of anti-American sentiment still remains quite strong as far as the Iranian state is concerned, and with this kind of attacks that have forced the regime to change, it has also resulted in a lot of collateral damage, especially the attack on that girls' school, which has led to death of over 100 girls students. All of these memories will remain sharp among the psyche of the Iranian people, and that will be the reason why it will be quite difficult to sort of for the US to place their own people as far as power is concerned. Back to you, Preeti.
All right, Akshay, when we talk of Ayatollah Ali Khamenei, then he took over as the supreme leader in 1989. We've just seen how Donald Trump has called him one of the most evil leaders. I would want you to explain to our viewers the rise and fall of Ayatollah Ali Khamenei as the supreme leader of Iran.
Well, Khamenei's rise obviously has been spectacular. Uh, on the lines of, or rather in the backdrop of anti-monarchy sentiments that were there. The Shah of Iran was considered with who, who was not liked by the people, and in that power vacuum is of Khamenei and the entire leadership that now ruled rather Iran for so many decades now. He was an Iranian cleric and a politician as well. As far as his reign is concerned, he was the second person to hold the position of supreme leader of Iran. Uh, he previously served as the president of Iran from 1981 to 1989 as well. And tenure as his tenure as supreme leader spanned of for about 36 years, making him the longest serving head of state in the Middle East. And the longest serving Iranian leader since the Shah Mahmud Raza Pahlavi. He was seen as a cleric. He was seen as a strong political leader. He was seen as somebody who could lead the sort of resurgence of Iran as a state in that part of the world, especially his long, sort of pursuing of the nuclear weapons and nuclear weapon programs in that region to ensure that the state remains untouchable by the adversaries in that part of the world. He also, his foreign policy centered on Shia Islamism and exporting also of Iranian revolution. He played a pivotal role in development of Islamic Revolutionary Guard Corps and transforming it into a primary tool for domestic control and regional influence. Uh, there are several instances like these, Apriti, where Khamenei shaped the politics, not just of Iran but of Middle East. Iran supported the axis of resistance coalition in Syrian civil war, in Iraq, in Yemen civil war, and Gaza war as well as during Russo-Ukraine war. He was a staunch critic of Israel and of Zionism. Khamenei supported the Palestinian in the Israeli-Palestinian conflict. His rhetoric included calls for Israel's destruction as well, and that made him perhaps the biggest enemy of the Israeli state in the region. He was a hardliner, and also there are allegations against him that he sidelined leftist factions, moderate clerics, as well as political dissidents, while occasionally easing restrictions when the regime stability or legitimacy had been threatened. So his duration as the supreme leader has been for quite a long time, about 36 years. One of the longest serving leaders in the entire Middle East, and the way he has handled the entire situation for so many years, shaping, or rather placing Iran as one of the only countries, one of the only major countries that remained staunch critics of not only Israel but of the US as well in the region. Spoke about the lengths Khamenei went as far as sticking to his ideology amid all the other challenges in the region.
All right, Akshay, now that Iran is bereft of its supreme leader. Uh, what clout will it have to face U.S.-Israeli strikes? In what position can it retaliate? What force, with what force can Iran maintain, its position against U.S.-Israeli strikes?
Well, it's all about speculation at this point in time because with the death of Khamenei, yes, obviously it is going to be a major blow to the Iranian leadership. They will be sort of headless for a while before the chain of command really takes over, and the sort of person that is designated. I'm sure there is a plan of action that Khamenei would have set, given the hostilities, his old age, that if something happens to Khamenei, who then takes over. So. Sajid Lajani is one of the major names that is circulating as far as the second in command is concerned. But we have seen this in the case of Hamas. We have seen this in case of Hezbollah, that Israel doesn't only go after the head of the organization; it goes after the second head, the third head, the fourth head as well, as long as it doesn't complete its objectives. We can now wait and see that how the present Iranian leadership is to respond, whether they will be able to, sort of re-establish themselves, or whether there will be some change in the government and change in the structure of the government to replace the present form of government in the country. So all that now remains a speculation. But if Sajid Larijani and other hardliners still remain in power and they still decide to avenge the death of Khamenei and the death of other people, then we can expect the war to stretch far further than there was initially anticipated by Israel and the US.
All right. Now that you call it, it is a little too early to contemplate. But then, how do you see the situation further pan out in West Asia? How grave or how serious is the situation with President Trump saying that the strikes will still continue, even though the supreme leader has been killed? Akshay, are you there with us?
Yes. Obviously, Trump is saying that the strikes will continue. He cannot let the pressure of the IRGC and other, chain of command in the government of the sort of regime of Iran, because otherwise it will give time for the Iranian leadership to sort of gather their strength and strike back, because they will have to be persistent to break the spirit of the regime of the Iranian government. So yes, the situation remains grim, but it depends on how US does actually wish on carrying out with the attacks, carrying out with the sort of pressure tactics. But it's as you rightly said, it's all speculation at this point in time. The situation is still grim. And if be it the son of Khamenei, Moshtaba Khamenei, or the deputy of Khamenei, Sajid Larijani, either of these, if they come to power, it is going to be a difficult situation for Israel and the US, because then in that situation there is going to be a retaliation. But the capability of the Iranian state to retaliate also remain limited if you compare them, to the US capabilities as well as the Israeli capabilities, along with other allies that they have in the region.
All right, Akshay, with the region already grappling with Israel-Hamas conflict, we see another instance of U.S.-Israel against Iran emerging. You're talking of it being speculation, but then what role can the neighboring countries play here? We've seen Donald Trump talking to other neighboring countries in the region. So could this development have any spillover effect what kind of a role could the neighboring countries here in West Asia play?
Well, not much because we have seen the destruction of Libya, the destruction of Syria, destruction of Yemen, destruction of Iraq, of Afghanistan, and there was hardly anything that the neighboring countries did. After the regime changes and after the killing of leaders of these countries, power vacuums were created, and worse players like Islamic State of Iraq and Syria, other terror groups, other proxy groups have taken over, and destruction and killing still continues to this day. While America has wiped off its hands of the crisis and has gone back to its home. U.S. has in fact instigated several of the crises in that part of the world, and that perhaps the reason why the apprehension remains that whether something good will come out of this action in Iran, because you are giving space to the hardliners without sort of any kind of second options, any kind of follow-up plans, any kind of contingency plans. You're just removing the leadership and opening it up for anyone to come and take over, because you hardly care about the people, or the US doesn't really care about the interest of the people. It cares about its own interest, the interest of Israeli state, it being an ally of the US. So there is hardly anything that the neighboring countries can do or will be willing to do, given the fact that nobody want to get involved in somebody else's mess, and it is going to be the Iranian people who will have to rise to the occasion and find the next best option for them.
All right, Akshay, you stay with us. We are at present tracking the developments in West Asia. For our viewers who've just joined in, this is the big breaking news we're getting for you from West Asia. Confirmation coming in from Iranian state media that Iranian Supreme Leader Ayatollah Ali Khamenei has been killed in the US-Israeli strikes. 40 days of state mourning has been announced in Iran. A presenter on Iranian state television confirmed the death of Iran's Supreme Leader Ayatollah Ali Khamenei without referring to a massive US and Israeli attack on his residence. A presenter on a state television announced Khamenei's death at 5 a.m., that is 1:30 GMT, as the channel broadcast archive images with a black banner as a sign of mourning. 86-year-old Khamenei has been Iran's supreme leader since 1989. Our correspondent Akshay is there with us, and he has been trying to decode the development for us and help us understand. Now, in the latest, Akshay, Iran has called the strikes unprovoked and illegal. Get us more as to, we've seen all this while that Iran has refuted the warnings coming in from West with regard to its nuclear programs. Now, with the Supreme Leader Ayatollah Ali Khamenei's death, what bearing will it have, on the nuclear program, on the nuclear ambitions of Iran? And also, again, how do you see this issue further pan out? This development further pan out?
Can you repeat this question, Preeti? Can you repeat this question?
Yes, Iran has called these strikes by US and Israel as unprovoked and illegal. And we've seen how repeatedly Iran has refuted the warnings by the West on its nuclear program. Now, with the death of its Supreme Leader Ayatollah Ali Khamenei, what fallout can it have on Iran's nuclear ambitions? And also, again, to what extent can this development have a bearing on the situation ahead in the next few days?
Well, it again remains a speculation, at this point in time, unless we have a clarity on who takes over from Khamenei. We will have to really monitor the situation in the sense that we will have to see that whether it is the leadership that was planned by Khamenei to resume, to rather assume the leadership, or some other major changes in the government structure takes place, and only after that we can anticipate the future of the Iranian regime. Because if the leaders who were named by Khamenei and other IRG top IRG's leadership, if they come to power, then there is going to be a lull at this point in time. However, there is going to be a resurgence again of the sort of attacks against Israel, or sort of revenge, in the sense that Iran will continue its nuclear ambitions once again, if not now, maybe in future, and it will be relentless, especially after this kind of attack that was carried out by the US and Israel against the country and the leadership. But if not, if there is a change, then we can expect that the new leadership and the new style of the government will obviously not want to get involved in something that has led that or rather led its predecessor to be killed. So we'll have to wait and watch, but the situation remains grim at this point in time, because the top leadership is not wiped out yet, and the situation still remains critical for the world to see and anticipate on what is happening now.
All right, Akshay. Also, what will be the fallout for the markets across the world, with that have already been grappling with uncertainty given the previous geopolitical situation and the changes which have been witnessed with this development? How do we see the markets, react, or what bearing will it have on the markets ahead?
Well, obviously there is going to be a certain uh, uh, shock to the market, but it's for country like India, the stock market will be closed today. It's Sunday. They open on Monday, and as far as the initial reaction is concerned, it's going to be of quite a significant drop in the oil market, in other areas as well, until and unless there is a clarity. But you can if this cloud of war that has been there for so many decades now, if there is a positive outcome of all of this, if there is a change in the Iranian regime that is more pro-US, more pro-Israel, and that a regime that comes in and says that the sort of animosity that was there during the time of Khamenei doesn't have to remain, and they sort of agree to accept a sort of peace terms and not pursue nuclear ambitions. Then it can have a really long term good impact on the markets, because then one of the most longest, rather sort of uh, uh, war, or we can call it sort of two countries challenging each other every once in a while, every now and then, and the situation coming close to war every year or two. That threat goes forever, and we can see that finally there can be some positive outcomes of this as well, if there is a pro-Israel government, pro-US government that takes over in Iran, as opposed to the present regime that is there. So the markets can also show positive results, but that is going to take quite a long time from now.
All right, Akshay, US President has said that the strikes will continue. At the same time, the Iranian guards have vowed severe punishment for these strikes and for Khamenei's murderers. We know that this will not just be a 12-day war. What is it that the US President is hoping to achieve, as he says that the strikes will continue in the near future as well? Akshay, am I audible? I think we've lost contact with Akshay there. We'll try getting back to him again, but he was decoding and analyzing for us the current situation in West Asia, which has got a grave, with the US and Israel launching airstrikes against against Iran, and which has resulted in the death in the killing of Iran's Supreme Leader Ayatollah Ali Khamenei. It's a very big development that has been coming in from West Asia, and Iranian media has also confirmed the killing of Khamenei at his residence. Khamenei was killed in the early hours of Saturday, says the state media. Also, the family members of Ayatollah Ali Khamenei have been killed in the strikes. Iran calls the strikes unprovoked and illegal. At the same time, US President Donald Trump has vowed that the strikes will continue. At the same time, he has called Khamenei one of the most evil leaders. At the same time, the Iranian state media has announced 40 days of state mourning. And today, finally, Iranian media has broken its silence on Khamenei's death. Iranian media has confirmed Ayatollah Ali Khamenei's death in the airstrikes by US and Israel. Khamenei was killed at his office, says the Iranian state media. This is the big development coming in from West Asia. Iran's supreme leader Ayatollah Ali Khamenei, 86 years of age, has been killed in US-Israel strikes. This has been confirmed by the Iranian state media. India on Saturday voiced deep concern over the recent developments in Iran and the Gulf region, calling for restraint and renewed efforts towards dialogue. In a statement, India's External Affairs Ministry urged all sides to avoid escalation and prioritize the safety of civilians. It emphasized that diplomacy must be pursued to de-escalate tensions and address underlying issues, while reiterating that the sovereignty and territorial integrity of all states must be respected. The ministry also highlighted that Indian missions in the region are actively monitoring the situation. They remain in close touch with Indian nationals and have issued advisories urging them to stay vigilant, maintain contact with the missions, and follow local security guidance. Amid the tense situation in West Asia, India's External Affairs Minister Dr. S. Jaishankar spoke with the foreign ministers of Saudi Arabia, Kuwait, Bahrain and Qatar to discuss the ongoing developments in the region. Up on your screens, we have the evaluation of MEA on the situation in West Asia. At the same time, Dr. S. Jaishankar talked to other leaders, and in a social media post, he said that he spoke to Saudi Arabia Foreign Minister Prince Faisal bin Farhan Al Saud and exchanged views on the ongoing situation in the Gulf. He underlined India's stakes in regional peace and stability and in welfare of the Indian community. Dr. S. Jaishankar, India's External Affairs Minister of India, has put on social media that he just spoke to Prince Faisal bin Farhan Al Saud. He's the Foreign Minister of Saudi Arabia, exchanged views on the ongoing situation in the Gulf, and also conveyed India's concerns about the Indian well-being of the Indian community. The External Affairs Minister also spoke with Kuwait Foreign Minister Sheikh Jarrah Jaber Al Ahmad Al Sabah and briefed him on the latest situation in the West Asian nation. During the talks, Dr. S. Jaishankar underlined India's concern at the escalation. The minister said that he values Qatar Foreign Minister's reassurance for welfare of the Indian community. The External Affairs Minister also exchanged views with Bahrain Foreign Minister Dr. Abdul Latif bin Rashid Al Zayani on the turn of events in the region. During the talks, Dr. S. Jaishankar expressed concern about the escalating developments in the region. He said that he was assured that Bahrain government would take all measures to keep the Indian community safe. During his phone call with UAE Deputy Prime Minister and Foreign Minister Sheikh Abdullah bin Zayed Al Nahyan on Saturday, Dr. S. Jaishankar discussed the evolving situation in the Gulf. He told his UAE counterpart that India is concerned with the escalating situation in the region and appreciated his commitment to the welfare of the Indian community. After US and Israeli strikes on Iran and retaliatory attacks by Tehran, United Nations Security Council held an emergency meeting on Saturday. UN Chief Antonio Guterres has warned that military action in West Asia risks triggering uncontrollable consequences in the region.
A grave threat to international peace and security. Military action carries the risk of igniting a chain of events that no one can control in the most volatile region of the world. Let me be clear, there is no viable alternative to the peaceful settlement of international disputes.
Flights across West Asia were cancelled on Saturday after United States and Israeli strikes on Iran prompted Tehran and other regional nations to close airspace following Iranian retaliation that disrupted thousands of flights. Iran, Iraq, Israel, Syria, Kuwait, UAE and Qatar announced airspace closures. Aviation analytics company Cirium said that 966 of 4,218 bound flights scheduled to land in West Asian countries were cancelled on Saturday, rising above 1,800 including departures, with 716 out of 4,329 scheduled flights axed on Sunday. Flight tracking website FlightAware reported more than 18,000 flights had been delayed globally and more than 2,350 were cancelled worldwide as of 22:30 GMT on Saturday. Major airlines including Emirates, Etihad, Qatar Airways, Delta Airlines, American Airlines, Air India, Lufthansa, Air France and British Airways suspended or cancelled multiple Middle East routes. Due to airspace restrictions over Iran and parts of the Middle East, 410 flights of Indian domestic carriers were cancelled on 28th February and 444 flights were expected to be cancelled on 1st of March. DGCA is maintaining close coordination with airlines to ensure full compliance with safety and operational regulations. Passengers are advised to check and confirm their flight status with the respective airlines before proceeding to the airport. Major airports remain on operational alert to manage potential diversions and ensure seamless passenger facilitation. The Ministry's Passenger Assistance Control Room, that is PACR, continues to closely monitor passenger concerns and facilitate prompt redressal. EU Foreign Policy Chief Kaja Kallas said the bloc's foreign ministers will hold an extraordinary talk on Iran on Sunday after United States and Israeli strikes on the country sparked retaliatory attacks. Kallas, in a social media post, said that ministers will attend the meeting and address the rapidly unfolding events via video link. Brussels condemned Tehran's reprisal, which sent people running for cover from missiles across West Asia. The Board of Governors of the International Atomic Energy Agency will hold an emergency meeting on Monday to discuss US and Israeli strikes on Iran on Saturday. Monday's emergency meeting will start an hour before a long-scheduled quarterly meeting of the board at which Iran's nuclear program was already on the agenda. Diplomats said there was no indication that Iranian nuclear facilities were struck on Saturday. You're watching DD India. We're heading for a short break. Stay with us.
Can the US launch a bombing campaign against Iran? The Philippines vessel suffered structural damage. The saga of child sexual abuse is the United States China's debt trap strategy. Truth is stranger than fiction. But sometimes hard to uncover. Trust us to tell the truth, unadulterated and pure, of every story that matters to you.
Exactly what save your country.
You read between the lines, cut the clutter, and connect the dots to get you the full picture. Watch Connecting the Dots at these times with me, only on DD India.
back after the break. You're watching DD India News Hour. Prime Minister Narendra Modi will inaugurate, dedicate to the nation and lay the foundation stone of multiple projects aimed at strengthening infrastructure, urban services, industrial development and also education, healthcare and sustainable growth in Puducherry. He will inaugurate key initiatives including the launch of e-buses under the PM e-Bus Seva initiative. He will also inaugurate the Composite Engineering Block, Dr. APJ Abdul Kalam Block and Ganga Hostel of National Institute of Technology, Karaikal, for the strengthening higher education and healthcare infrastructure in the region. He will also dedicate to the nation the 750-acre Karasur Siddharapet Industrial Estate, which will house a farmer park, textile park, IT park, state-of-the-art research and development center of IIT Madras, and advanced healthcare facilities of JIPMER, thereby providing a major boost to industrial growth and employment generation in the region. Prime Minister will also lay the foundation stone of water supply projects to improve drinking water systems and ensure clean and safe water for residents of Puducherry region. He will also lay the foundation stone of various projects covering major sectors like urban roads, drainage networks, public buildings, student hostels and sport facilities under the Special Assistance to States for Capital Investment Scheme. Prime Minister will inaugurate, dedicate to the nation and lay the foundation stone and inaugurate the infrastructure projects worth over 4,400 crore rupees in Madurai, aimed at enhancing connectivity, improving mobility and accelerating regional economic development. Prime Minister will lay the foundation stone of 4-laning of Marakanam, Puducherry section of NH 332A and the Paramakudi, Ramanathapuram section of NH 87. Aligned with the principles of PM Gati Shakti, the corridor will integrate key economic nodes including fishing clusters, a special economic zone, a mega food park and a textile cluster, thereby catalyzing trade, industry and socio-economic development across the region. Prime Minister will inaugurate 8 redeveloped railway stations under the Amrit Bharat Station scheme. To further strengthen broadcasting services in Tamil Nadu, Prime Minister will inaugurate 3 new Akashvani FM relay transmitters at Kumbakonam, Yerkod and Vellore. Let's get to sports updates. India's T20 World Cup 2026 campaign has reached a decisive moment after an unbeaten group stage and a mixed Super 8 stage run. The men in blue now face a virtual quarter-final against West Indies at Eden Gardens in Kolkata this Sunday. With a semi-final berth online and no room for error, it is a clash that promises high intensity and high stakes. Take a look.
The Indian cricket team's hopes of qualifying for the T20 World Cup 2026 semi-finals rest entirely on the result of their final Super 8 encounter against the West Indies at the Eden Gardens. Reigning champions India sailed through the group stage unbeaten, but their title defence took a serious hit with a loss to South Africa in their Super 8 opener. Under pressure, they responded strongly with a commanding 72-run win over Zimbabwe to stay alive in the race. While South Africa already defeating the West Indies earlier and sealing their semi-final berth with 4 points and a superior net run rate, the equation in Group 1 is now crystal clear. The top 2 teams from each Super 8 group progress to the semi-finals. For India, the scenario is simple: beat the West Indies and qualify alongside South Africa. A win would take India to 4 points, while the Windies would remain on 2. However, a loss would end India's campaign. In case of an abandoned match, both teams would share a point and finish on 3 each, but West Indies would advance due to a superior run rate. Conditions also play a key role. Eden Gardens has already produced high-scoring contests in this World Cup, with an average first innings score of around 180 and the 200 mark has been crossed twice. While the surface has offered assistance to both batters and bowlers, dew remains a potential factor in the night game. Interestingly, while India dominate the overall T20I head-to-head, the trend shifts in T20 World Cups. The West Indies have won 3 of their 4 World Cup meetings against India, with India's only victory coming in 2014. At Eden Gardens, though, India enjoy a perfect 4-0 T20I record against the Caribbean side. For India, it's a straightforward win and move forward, lose and go home. A semi-final spot, pride and title defence hopes all hinge on one final Super 8 showdown. Sports Desk, DD India.
All right, going back to the top story we're tracking this hour, Iran's Supreme Leader Ayatollah Ali Khamenei was killed at his office. Iranian state media has confirmed Iran's Supreme Leader Khamenei was killed in early hours of Saturday has been reported by the Iranian state media, and 40 days of state mourning has been announced in Iran. Iran state media has confirmed Iran's Supreme Leader Ayatollah Ali Khamenei has been killed. What repercussions will it have in the region? Let's discuss this with our guest, Dr. Kinvarat Jangid, West Asia expert, OP Jindal Global University is joining us. Thank you so much, sir, for joining us on DD India. Help us understand how grave is the situation in the region now with Ayatollah Ali Khamenei being killed by the US-Israeli strikes.
Namaskar. This is going to be really serious development for the region if the way Iran has engaged or attacked several Arab capitals in a single day showed that Iran was in a desperate situation to involve everybody, and then the conflict becomes too costly for America to even continue with. But I do think since June 2025, if we go back to the last episode when Israel and America successfully attacked the nuclear sites, they got into a temptation that they may target now Khamenei. They may want to have a regime change. But in a very realistic terms, they realized they can't do it. And they dropped that idea in June, and the war was ended in 12 days. What has happened now, I think, has a lot to do with domestic Iranian crisis, where Khamenei and several religious authorities have been, challenged from within. So I think Trump and Israel took this chance, realizing that there is a very vulnerable spot in Iran. And if they have the right intelligence, they can really attack the leadership. Now, it leaves us in a very, very precarious situation. When Iran is cornered like this, when it is pushed to the wall, what can it do? And I do think it will try to inflict a greater damage in the region because it can't reach America. It also can't reach much of the Israeli territory. Israel has, greater intercepting abilities. In 24 hours, only one missile fell in Tel Aviv, and only one, 40-year-old woman died in Tel Aviv last night. So they are targeting more Arab capitals because Arab capitals don't have those kind of intercepting air defense systems. And Arab capitals are going to be in a mess now. It also shows how polarized the region is, where Iran for decades has, engaged in a war with these kind of developments, considering these regimes as part of the American power.
All right. Help us understand now that Ayatollah Ali Khamenei, the supreme leader, has been killed. In what position is Iran to retaliate? Because they said that they will take revenge, calling US-Israeli strikes as illegal and unprovoked. How is Iran positioned to, reply or retaliate to these strikes?
Well, the illegality of the attack is well known. Was it unprovoked? I'm not sure that was a correct assessment. Provocations are many kinds, and one of the provocations that the Iranian regime has been working with is to challenge the existence of the Israeli state, or to keep working on the proxies that are armed groups in different parts of the Middle East, and these armed groups are challenging the different states, like one in Yemen, one in Lebanon. And this has really been a serious provocation from international community's perspective, that a country that is engaged in a proxy war is provoking enough. However, in real terms, in real world politics, Iran does stand alone. Look at what happened to Iran's position in the region. No Muslim country, and there are several in the world, no Muslim country has, stood with Iran in this episode or in the last episode in June. So regionally, Iran is isolated. Internationally, Iran does have backing or a kind of a rhetoric support from China and Russia. And they supporting Iran because Iran is a successful anti-American player for them.
Right.
it serves their larger great power politics.
Yes.
But when it comes to the real fight, Iran will have to fight alone.
All right. Thank you so much, sir, for joining us and putting into perspective for us the situation in West Asia and your inputs and analysis. Thank you, Dr. Jangid. And with that, we end this edition of News Hour. We had been tracking the big developments coming in from West Asia. Ayatollah Ali Khamenei, Iran's supreme leader, has been confirmed killed, and the Iranian state media has confirmed it. What fallout will it have in the region, and what repercussions could be witnessed, could be seen? We will discuss it in the bulletins ahead during the day. As of now, thanks for watching. Bye-bye.